Friday morning, 9:42. System crashes. Everyone panics, except Sarah. Sarah's on it. Calling people. Escalating. Visible panic. Productive panic. 11:15. System's back. Sarah gets thanked. Publicly. In the channel everyone reads. You watch this happen. You're the one who prevented 3 other crashes this week. Nobody saw those. They didn't happen. That's the point. Sarah gets applause for fixing what broke. You get nothing for what never broke. Welcome to corporate theater, where performance beats prevention, where noise beats silence, where the spotlight finds the firefighter, not the person who installed the sprinklers. You're watching a play. 3 acts, you're backstage. They're on stage. Act 1 starts months before you notice. Someone creates a problem. Maybe intentional. Maybe incompetent. Doesn't matter. Problem exists now. They don't solve it quietly. They announce it. Loudly. With urgency. With stakeholders CCD. Crisis mode activated. Meetings scheduled. Updates flowing. Visibility everywhere. Then they solve it. Public solution. Public relief. Public gratitude. Standing ovation. Meanwhile, you spent that same month making sure your systems don't break. Nobody applauds preventive maintenance. Nobody celebrates disasters that didn't happen. The audience can't see what doesn't go wrong. 3 months ago, you rebuilt the entire reporting pipeline. Took 2 weeks, nights and weekends. Made it bulletproof. Hasn't failed since, not once. Runs perfectly, silently, no recognition, no visibility. No one knows you did it because nothing breaks anymore. Last week, different team. Their pipeline failed, spectacularly. Data corrupted. Reports delayed. C-suite asking questions. They fixed it in 3 days. Emergency mode. War room. Hourly updates. Hero narrative building in real time. Fixed what they should have built correctly in the first place. Got praised for responsiveness, for ownership, for stepping up under pressure. You built something that doesn't need stepping up. That's not a story anyone tells. Prevention has no narrative arc. No crisis, no climax, no resolution, just silence. And silence doesn't get promoted. Watch how the performance works. Problem appears. Could be prevented. Wasn't. Doesn't matter now. Performer takes center stage. Doesn't hide the problem. Amplifies it. Make sure everyone knows how serious this is. How much attention it needs. How critical their involvement is. Then they work, visibly, with updates, with progress reports, with stakeholder management. They're not just solving. They're performing to solve. Every step documented, every win communicated, every obstacle shared. The audience watches. The audience appreciates. The audience remembers. You solve problems before they're problems. No audience for that. Can't perform what doesn't exist. Here's what you're missing. Corporate leadership doesn't reward competence. It rewards visible competence. Invisible competence is assumed, expected, baseline. Visible competence is celebrated, remembered, promoted. The person who prevents the fire doesn't get the medal. The person who puts out the fire does, even if they're the one who left the stove on. You keep systems running. That's your job. You do it well. That's expected. When something breaks and someone fixes it, that's exceeding expectations. That's going above and beyond. That's leadership under pressure. Prevention is invisible excellence. Crisis response is visible heroism. Guess which one gets the promotion? Last quarter review, your manager mentioned you. Solid performer. Reliable. No issues in your area. No issues. That was the whole comment. Someone else got mentioned differently. Stepped up during the database crisis. Showed real leadership. Took ownership. Crisis they created by ignoring your warning 2 months earlier. Warning you sent. Warning that got ignored. Warning that could have prevented everything. But warnings don't make good stories. Rescues do. They created the crisis. They solved the crisis. They got the credit. You prevented 3 others. Nobody knows. Can't prove what didn't happen. You're sitting in a meeting. Project update. Someone's presenting. Talking about challenges overcome. Obstacles navigated. Problems solved. Every problem on that list was preventable. You know this. You saw them coming. You mentioned them. Quietly. In emails. In side conversations. Got dismissed. Too cautious. Overthinking. Not a blocker right now. Now they're blockers. Now they're solved blockers. Now they're achievements. The person presenting is getting credit for solving what they should have prevented. You're getting nothing for trying to prevent what they ignored. Prevention is criticism. Solution is leadership. You criticize the approach. They led through the challenges. Guess who looks better? There's a performer in every office. You know who they are. They don't prevent problems. They inherit them, or create them, or ignore warnings about them. Then they fix them, publicly, with flair, with updates, with visibility. They're not better at the work. They're better at the performance. They understand something you don't. Leadership is watching. Leadership doesn't have time to understand the details. Leadership watches for signals. Quiet competence signals nothing. It's expected. It's baseline. It's invisible. Loud problem-solving signals leadership, initiative, ownership, grace under pressure. Even when the pressure shouldn't have existed. Especially when the pressure shouldn't have existed, because then they also get credit for the challenge, for the difficulty, for overcoming long odds. Odds you tried to shorten, warnings they ignored. You prevent a crisis. Takes planning, foresight, careful work, weeks of effort. Crisis doesn't happen. Success. Nobody notices. How could they? Nothing went wrong. Must not have been a real risk. Different team. Crisis hits. Their fault. Their lack of planning. Their ignored warnings. They scramble. They solve. They communicate constantly. They succeed. Everyone notices. How could they not? Something went wrong. They fixed it. Heroes. Same outcome. Working systems. Different paths. Different visibility. Different rewards. You eliminated risk. They created and resolved drama. Drama gets remembered. Risk elimination gets forgotten because drama has a story. Risk elimination is the story that never happened. Stop here. Think about the last time you got recognized. What was it for? Was it for preventing something or fixing something? If you can't remember the last time you got recognized for prevention, you're watching the wrong performance. Now back to the theater. Your annual review arrives. Meets expectations. Solid contributor. No major issues. No major issues because you prevented them, but that's not written anywhere. Can't be written. Can't prove prevention. Someone else's review. Exceeds expectations. Stepped up multiple times. Showed leadership during critical moments. Critical moments they created. But that's not written anywhere either. Both of you did your jobs. They did it loudly. You did it quietly. Loud got promoted. Quiet got cost of living adjustment. Not because loud is better, because loud is visible. And visibility is the currency of corporate advancement. You're in a strategy meeting. Leadership asking about risks. You mention 3. Clearly. With data. With timelines. With prevention plans. Leadership nods. Takes notes. Moves on. 6 months later, one of those risks hits. Different team. Could have been prevented. Wasn't. Your warning wasn't their priority. Now it's a crisis. Now it's everyone's priority. Team that owns it mobilizes. Status meetings, escalation, visibility everywhere. They solve it, get praised. Showed real leadership navigating this challenge. Challenge you predicted. Challenge you had a plan for. Challenge they ignored. You were right. You get nothing for being right. They were unprepared. They get credit for recovering. Because recovery is a performance. Prediction is just paperwork. Here's the brutal truth. Competence that prevents problems makes you valuable. Competence that solves problems makes you promotable. Valuable means they keep you where you are. You're too good at prevention to move. Systems need you here, keeping things running. Promotable means they move you up. You've demonstrated you can handle pressure. Navigate challenges. Lead through crisis. Crisis you might have caused. Doesn't matter. You solved it. Publicly. With witnesses. Prevention has no witnesses. Only absence of problems. And absence proves nothing. You can't show leadership preventing what never happened. You can only show leadership solving what went wrong. Even if what went wrong shouldn't have gone wrong if someone listened to you 3 months ago, the irony is perfect. You do your job so well that nothing breaks. Nothing breaking means nothing to fix. Nothing to fix means no visible wins. No visible wins means no promotion story. They do their job poorly enough that things break. Things breaking means visible problems. Visible problems mean visible solutions. Visible solutions mean promotion story. You eliminated the drama. They created and resolved it. Drama gets the standing ovation. Silence gets the steady paycheck. 2 years from now, nothing changes in your approach. You'll still be preventing crises, still be incompetent, still being quiet. They'll still be creating and solving them. Still being visible, still being loud. You'll still be valuable. In your current role, keeping systems running, being reliable. They'll be promoted, managing people, leading teams, getting exposure. Not because they're better, because they perform better. They understand corporate theater. You're still thinking it's about the work. It's not about the work. It's about the performance of the work. And prevention doesn't perform. It just prevents, which is invisible, which is unrewarded, which keeps you exactly where you are. Final truth. Staying quiet isn't humility. It's strategic suicide. Being competent silently means being competent invisibly. Invisible competence is baseline. Baseline doesn't negotiate. Baseline doesn't advance. You have to make the prevention visible. Document the disasters that didn't happen. Communicate the risks you eliminated. Perform the silence. Sounds absurd. It is absurd, but it's the theater you're in. And if you don't perform, someone else will. Someone louder. Someone worse at prevention but better at presentation.